Hey friends, my name is Gabby Rosalie, and this is the Crucial Conversations podcast, a platform dedicated to self-fulfillment and breaking the cycle of wasted potential. Using the tools of perspective, knowledge, wisdom, and awareness, I, with the help of qualified expert guests, share free insight and proven strategies that lead to all forms of success. If you are ready to start investing in yourself and living the life of your dreams, because I promise it is possible for all of us, you came to the right place. Together, we will help each other level up and have the crucial conversations necessary to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a magical episode. Today, I am sitting down with Astrid Castellanos, who I was lucky enough to meet about 3 weeks ago when our paths crossed here in Costa Rica. Today, we will be diving headfirst into spirituality, divine gifts, femininity, energy healing, and body wisdom. Astrid is originally from Peru and has been living the nomad life for the last couple of years. She's curious and she is creative, and she's a lover of nature and a true explorer. Astrid quit the 9-to-7 corporate industry in the capital of Peru to embark on a self-discovery journey. In the process of doing so, her spiritual gifts were activated. This opened up a path that led her to create a business that facilitates tools for empowerment, alternative healing, and collective growth. Astrid is also an international women's retreat leader, Reiki Master, and Kundalini Activation Facilitator. She was selected as a speaker for the Latin American Online Reiki Congress in 2023 and is presently the founder of her own online Reiki Academy for English and Spanish speakers that she has shared with more than 15 countries since 2021. I myself have received a Kundalini activation session from Astrid and felt the power of her gifts in my soul. If you're new to energy, spirituality, body wisdom, or you have been studying these elements for some time, you are guaranteed to connect with the wisdom Astrid has to offer today. I'm feeling super blessed to be able to record this episode in person with Astrid, so we are going to get right into it. Astrid, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gabby. I'm super excited to be here, and thank you again for your invitation.
All right, so we are going to get started with a juicy question. If you could give yourself one piece of advice, maybe 1 to 3 years ago, what would that be?
My advice will be it's safe to create your own life path. You're here on Earth not to live in an unconventional way.
So what does living in an unconventional way sound like and look like for you?
For me, it looks like following your intuition, following your heart, even though it sounds just different from your family could say or society can say. And just create your own life path.
Absolutely. So speaking of life paths, I want to hear a little bit about your journey from corporate life to nomad life to business owner, now energy healer, because I think that living unconventionally really stems from the imbalance that you probably were feeling in that corporate lifestyle. And you're like, hey, this is not resonating with my soul, so I got to get out of here. So I want to hear a little bit about your journey and what led you to making that transformational decision.
So for sure, I can share. It was a quite long journey, I would say, until I finally stepped into my own journey, own path, or start creating my own path. So I studied hotel management in the capital of Peru, and I started working really at young age, at 18 years old, and I worked for 7 years in the travel industry. At the beginning, I liked that job. I was making good money. I was also traveling when I had vacations. I thought by then that I have a good environment, but then my body started sending me signs. That's how I call it, because I started getting super sick. So first it was my digestive system. Then I had a lot of skin issues. And then it was in 2016 that it was I call it my first spiritual awakening, because that was the moment that I realized I need to do something different. And that was when I had a tumor in my belly, in my womb. And then I went through a surgery because many doctors thought it was cancer. Fortunately, it was not cancer. after that surgery, when I received these results that it was negative to cancer, I literally make a pact to the universe. And I said, like, if this is not cancer, I'm going to choose a different path. And I'm just going to follow my dreams. By then, I was not really sure how this new path would look like, but I always felt called to travel. I was already working in this industry, and I felt I have this dream to travel to Thailand. So after a few months of recovering after the surgery, I decided to quit my job. I quit my job. All my friends, family, they were like, "Are you crazy? What are you doing? Like, you're now like in good health. You went through this process." But to me, it was like, well, actually, this was a calling. It was a call to action. Like, something needs to be different, right? So then I quit my job. I started traveling. I ended up traveling for 5 months. My original plan was just 1 month. And I went to Southeast Asia. And on this journey, like traveling through Thailand, to Bali, to Vietnam, I started reconnecting with so many people that they were on the same journey as me. Like, they were also quitting their jobs. So they were like just traveling to see what happens, trying to getting to know themselves. And I started getting into yoga and meditation. And through this tool, I started really like understanding what was happening to me, that it was not really actually like I need to travel to be happy or to be fulfilled. Actually, I was traveling to discover myself. So I was not looking for a place. I thought at the beginning I was looking for a place, but actually it was like I was just looking for myself. I was looking for this place that feels like home within myself. And then I come back to Peru. I didn't feel to live anymore in the capital of Peru because I changed a lot. I moved to the mountains in Cusco, and this is a very mystical place and beautiful nature. And that's when my path started connecting me with Reiki. And that's when my whole life changed, because I started through Reiki discovering so many things hidden about myself, like emotions that were stored, traumas that were stored, and how all these emotions led me to be sick. Even though I went already through surgery, there was still this pain within my body. So that's why I was feeling like kind of a void within myself. Just diving into Reiki and doing my self-treatments, I started discovering all this information within myself, and I started healing myself because I was feeling at peace, finally.
That is so amazing. So do you think that your physical symptoms of illness, the surgery that you ended up having to get, do you feel like that was a pretty direct result from your feelings of disalignment with what you were doing and where your heart was at, a little bit of a mixture of maybe like, health issues in the past, maybe family, whatever, but do you feel like the emotional materialization of your stress and feelings of doing things that weren't your true calling actually materialized into that illness?
I feel on my experience and how I have then dive deep into my family history, I feel it's a combination. It was a lot of trauma stored through generations in my family. Definitely because I was just trying to, from an unconscious way, to follow the same path of my family. And because it's not connected with my soul, who I really am, then my body started telling me, just getting sick, because it's like I was just living so disconnected from my body,
I know we're going to talk about body wisdom a little bit later, but I think that is such a powerful ability to feel when you may not know, so it's like your body will tell you things when your mind isn't necessarily able to conceptualize them yet. So like you said, trying to follow this path that you thought was meant for you because society was telling you, your parents were telling you, and you had probably convinced yourself for quite some time that this was the right path for you. But your body is so intelligent, and not the type of intelligent that's like you read a bunch of books and you store a bunch of information, but it's so connected to your nature. And so it'll tell you things if you're open to listening, if you believe in that, then you're more receptive to it and whatnot. But I think that's very, very cool. So what advice would you give to other people that may be feeling similar things in their life right now? Like, let's say that they're feeling stagnant or they're feeling stuck, and maybe they are looking to connect with themselves on a deeper level and have had maybe some, I don't know, history of maybe this is a sixth sense for me. Maybe this is a little bit of a gift that I have in connection with my body and my spirit, So what advice would you give to someone on that path?
I would say the first thing, start removing distractions. And that can look like start connecting with silence, with meditation, go to nature, take the time to be just with themselves and just start listening to themselves. I feel we can always, that's the main a tool that we have is just silence. Silence is an amazing tool. So when we just start tapping into that, so much can be unlocked. So there is not like, oh, there is so much you have to do to discover that. It's actually slowing down and sit with your feelings, observe your thoughts. And if you need to learn a tool, if you need to explore something, a book, it will come to you naturally because you're already first listening to yourself and connecting with your inner authority.
Yeah. And I feel like because everything is so busy out in the world nowadays, it's hard to get silent unless you're very intentional about getting silent. And so like you said, spending alone time, getting into nature, it's not that you have to go out and do a bunch of things and connect with a bunch of people, but it's actually removing, like you said, the things that are causing your brain to be so overstimulated, therefore disconnecting you from your spirit and your true self. So I know for me, the silence is so critical because I am a person who, when I don't feel like I am doing something, I get stressed out. And so I'm constantly distracting myself with productivity. And so when I force myself to step away from that, that's when I really get in touch with who I am and slow down a little bit. And I'm still kind of learning that process. And I'm kind of in that phase right now where I'm super, super intentional about knowing myself. But I think that what your journey is so interesting. The reason why I'm drawn to it and I love that you're able to share it is because you were on this path that you felt was right for 7 years. And then you were like, okay, my body's telling me no. And you did the work. You were like, okay, what are my dreams and how am I going to make these happen? Because you almost got a second chance. If you thought it could have been cancer, who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like it was almost a second chance. And so you really committed to listening to yourself, And what do you think was stopping you from listening to yourself for so long? Was it family and just external pressure, or was it that you didn't have clarity?
I would say 50-50. Yeah, to be honest. A lot of external, I was always thinking what people would say or what my family would think. Would I be disappoint them? But also I didn't have any tools back then. So I also now I'm very compassionate with myself because when I think about what I mentioned, these 7 years, I'm like, how I did it for 7 years? But it's because I didn't have any tool. I was not in the environment. I was, I guess, not curious enough back then to look for resources.
Well, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. So I was like, maybe this feeling will just pass. And then I think it's also life. Every time I was trying to make a decision, okay, I'm going to change and do something different. Something good was happening, or I don't know, I was getting higher salary or, more material things. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, no, maybe that's a sign. But really deep within myself, I think I was just not being honest with myself because I always knew there was a different path for me. Yeah. I just needed to try it, you know?
Yeah, you just got to test the waters for sure. Well, I mean, the activity that we were doing, the course by Sonia Choquet is how you say her name. Yes, it's all on intuition. And Astrid, Key, and I were living together right now in Costa Rica, and so we're doing this course. And one of the things that she said that really rang true to me was the 19 solutions activity. So when you're thinking about something, maybe you feel stuck, journaling, writing down, saying out loud, sharing with a friend, 19 solutions to whatever problem or challenge you're facing, because what it does is it forces you to actually think about the possibilities in ways that you may not have if you didn't commit to a high number like 19, right? Because we can feel like our path is so straight and narrow when we don't recognize the opportunity to go right or go left because we didn't even consider it on the map, you know? Yeah. And so I think like forcing yourself to get into a position of just using your imagination, because realistically, like you didn't have the tools, you didn't even know what was there out in the world for you to possibly experience, but using the tools I think is a powerful gift that we all have, is imagination, is creativity. And so I love that activity because it forces you to think outside the box. Like, hey, maybe you don't have these tools right now, but in an alternate reality, in your imagination, in that realm, what would you create for yourself? And then you start to think in that way that then opens up these opportunities. Like you knew you wanted to travel. Okay, well, where did you want to go? You wanted to go to Thailand. You were supposed to go for what? A month, you said? Yeah. And then it started this snowball effect. You were there for 5 and it just keeps going and going. And that's because you took the time to think about what you truly wanted, you know? Mm-hmm. So very cool. All right, we kind of touched on it a little bit when you got into Reiki and the energy healing, but when you were filling out this questionnaire, you had mentioned your spiritual awakening. So I want to talk a little bit more in detail about what that looked like for you. Was it when you started traveling and meeting yourself on that deeper level, or was it when you maybe had your first activation session? Tell us a little bit about that.
So I feel in life as humans, we have different or many spiritual awakenings in different chapters of our life. So my first one, I would say it was the moment I came up after the surgery when I realized and I said like, this is it. I'm going to do something different. So that was like, I'm awake now. So now I'm aware I can change my life. I don't know how, but I'm going to change it. So that's the first one that I had. I would say that's more like a spiritual awakening on a regular basis life. After that, when I start tapping into more myself and all the mystical experiences, I have other experiences for sure that I can share. I would say it was when I started doing my Reiki treatments and just sitting in my practice. So if anyone that is listening to this don't know what is Reiki, so Reiki is an energy healing tool where mainly we channel the life force energy of the universe. We receive it through our head, and then we use our hands to send this energy to a parts of our body, or if it's for another person, we can give this energy. So we become channel. So my other spiritual awakening with Reiki, I would say, is start sensing, start feeling this energy coming through myself. And that can look like feeling tingling, feeling a sense of infinite love, visions, colors, animals, sometimes words. And I would say also through my dreams, there were other things that open up. Like through my dreams, I start like dreaming about different events that were premonitory. At the beginning, I was not paying attention, but then I started doing a journal. And then weeks later, when I went back to this journal, I realized that many things happened that I dreamed weeks before. So then I was like, okay, this is a new reality. It's something that I'm stepping into, and that I have these gifts, that they were hidden and blocked for a long time. Other experiences that I have, I would say they have been through Kundalini Activation process, where your life force, which is called as Kundalini, it's based on it's located at the base of your spine, and this energy is moving through all your system, through all your spine to your head, and then back to the base of your spine. And I have a amazing, beautiful experiences, like feeling really connected with the source. Like there are no words really to explain this, but it's just being there. I know that you're home. That where I connect with my spiritual guides, and they told me that I'm here on earth for a clear mission, which is share my gifts, which share tools with others. In this process to know myself but know others, because at the end we're all one and we're mirrors all the time. So I have received these messages many times, and to be honest, at the beginning I was very scared, and I was like rejecting this information, because I was like, oh no, I'm going crazy, like how I'm receiving this, how is possible? But of course, through just everyday experience, just by doing my practice, by stepping into different synchronicities in life, I start really trusting and believing. And over the years, I think nowadays, after 4 years working like full-time as a healer, I already like, I don't need more proof, you know?
Exactly.
It's
You're
like,
already there.
I'm there. I know. I know I'm always divinely protected and guided. And of course, I have still my human side, and I can have my own fears, doubts, but I already know how to come back to these swords and come back to home, you know?
I love that you talked about the first spiritual awakening that you had being after your surgery, which was it wasn't a vision. It wasn't a dream where you felt like you had hopped from a different astral realm to a next, you know, it was just a genuinely a deeply connected realization that you were going to start following your heart. Like it didn't have to be this huge theatrical thing, because sometimes when people think of spiritual awakening, it's like you're levitating, you're like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so no, really what it was for you initially, and I know for me too, it was just okay, I'm going to stop listening to everyone else, and I'm going to go inward, and I'm going to listen to my heart. It doesn't have to be this huge event, but once you start following your heart, then you begin to notice the synchronicities, you begin to feel the connection, you begin to understand things on such a deeper level. And so it's a spiritual awakening sometimes happens by chance. People fall into it. They have like their environment there to curate this experience for them. But for other people, it's a deeply intentional act of wanting to connect with yourself and practicing that, like we talked about through yoga and meditation and other forms of removing distractions, getting into nature, getting to know yourself, you know, and over time, when you create that space, your true nature is going to shine through, because some people just have a lot of layers and you got to remove the layers, you know? And so when you commit to doing that, you'll have the spiritual awakening, because we all have spirit within us. That's, you know, the nature of life. Whatever your faith is, whether, you know, you believe in God or you believe in the universe, whatever label that you want to put on it, I think that we all have that seed of life within us, which is this universal energy. And I think it's so beautiful. So thank you for including both of those. I think that's important for everyone to hear. So, you know, you had kind of talked about feeling a little crazy. Like, are these gifts real? Like, should I ignore them? Is this valid? Is this just in my head? You know, sixth sense gifts, divine gifts, dare I say psychic gifts, they're framed as taboo in society. And I think it's because it's intentional from a certain degree, because disconnecting people from their inherent power is it makes them easily more, you know, manipulated and distracted and following a path that might not be truly for their soul's mission, you know, but why are these gifts so powerful, and why is it important to validate them when you start to have them?
So, because that's your direct connection with your spirit, and when we start like really following this senses, this feeling, this knowing, this is the guidance we can use to take better choices and decisions in life. And that can be for everything and anything, like even like in your relationships, and what kind of projects do you want to create, and where do you feel, where is the environment you want to be, to realize also what kind of people you are surrounding in, know what kind of energy, if the energy of the people you are surrounding serves you or not, or connect, of course, deeper with your body, because the body, it's like is your vehicle of wisdom, and you can start even talking with your body, and your body can give you answers for anything instead of like looking for a book, looking for a life advice, looking for someone to give you advice. You can start just asking yourself, asking your body. All of this gives you tapping into your psychic gifts. And I think everyone has psychic gifts. Living in service, I would say that's another thing. I feel everyone has the free will to choose if they want to be in service or not, if they want to use it just for themselves, or they want to start working as a healer, as a coach, or but just for life, I would say psychic gifts are essential, just to enjoy and live a life that is fulfilled.
Yeah. And you talked a little bit about using your body to establish that connection. So I want to talk a little bit more about how we can reintegrate into our bodies and how we can use them as tools. And again, I mentioned that course, and that's something that for me, I know that I get in my head so often, and I just have this tendency to intellectualize things. And if I even feel something in my body, I'm like in my head telling myself, no, like this is just in your mind, like this isn't real, you know what I'm saying? And slowly but surely, I've started to truly just validate my feelings, and whether they're physical sensations or their emotions, it's just the validation process. Like for me, it has to be very intentional because it's hard for me to quiet my mind sometimes. But I want to talk about tapping into that sixth sense. How can we get into our bodies and out of our heads so that we can use our bodies as a tool to develop what you kind of talk about as body wisdom?
So I will first reply to this question from my direct experience, and I would say for me was learning Reiki, like using my body as a channel to discover about the energetic body. So when I talk about the body, we have different layers. We have the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, the spiritual body, and the energetic body. So when a person has pain or chronic pain or a disease, that means that it's energy that has been blocked there. The origin or the root of it started long time ago. It didn't start like just because. For this energy to be stored in the body has to cross all these layers. The first layer is the energetic body. So for me, connecting with Reiki and learning Reiki helped me to go deep to the root, to connect with my energetic body, and from there start reading like my own body, like the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, but integrating all of these layers. So for me, one great tool is that. Other tool that helps me nowadays also is just have a conversation with your body. Like if you're feeling tired, you're feeling pain in your shoulders for many days, maybe it's a repetitive pain, like just take a moment to be with yourself and ask your body, like ask to your shoulder, what is in there? What emotion is in there? What are you trying to tell me? What is the message for me? What I can learn from this? You might not receive the answer in that moment, or maybe you will receive it, but once you send the question to the universe will show you. Maybe not in that moment, but maybe you start walking and then you pick up a book or your phone and there is a word there. I don't know, maybe it's anger, and then you realize, oh, okay, where is this word coming from? And then you can ask you, ask to yourself why I'm feeling this anger, and then you start like discovering more. Of course, always have like a positive also language or dialogue with your body, like telling your body like, thank you, body. I love you, body. Thank you for your wisdom. Thank you for showing me these messages. Thank you for sending me these teachings and these lessons. And in that way, you are like literally creating and cultivating self-love. You're like literally opening your body, and your body will give you the answer. Maybe through a dream, maybe through a book, maybe through a person that you random find in the street, and this person tells you something, and then you're like, oh, okay, where is this coming from? That's your body talking, that's your spirit talking, or your soul talking. So it can be in many ways, but I would say these two tools helped a lot.
Yeah. And I love that you talked about once you put it out into the universe, it's going to come back to you. It might just not be on your timeline, you know? So like you said, it might just be a book that falls down in front of you or something super, super random. But if you have asked your body, you have had a conversation with God about what you are looking to get to the bottom of, you then are aware because you have spoken it into existence, and then you become aligned with what you need to receive in order to get to the bottom, whatever it is you're trying to figure out. And when we were doing the course and Sonia had said, how does your body feel when you receive the answer? If your body feels at peace and it feels like you are grounded in your heart and you feel secure, that's your intuition, that's your spirit speaking. If you feel like a little funky and kind of not so great and you're in your head and you feel just like heavy in your body, that's probably your ego, like your mind kind of taking the reins and talking for you. And so use your body as a tool to understand like what is peace, what is discomfort, and then how can I align myself with these emotions when I make decisions and these feelings in my body. So very, very cool. All right. So we talked about Reiki and we talked about Kundalini. Now I want to talk about connecting to our divine feminine energy, because I know that is something that you're very passionate about. And it's something that we all have feminine energy. It's not just women. It's not just females who have this feminine energy. We all have it. But for women, tapping into that divine feminine energy is so powerful and it's so liberating. And I want to hear a little bit from you about how you started tapping into maybe your own feminine energy and how you have started to grow into that power that we all have, especially as women when we choose to tap into it.
Yeah. So the feminine energy, it's an energy that we all have, whether if it's women and men. And the feminine energy is related with your emotions, with being vulnerable, with being expressive, with follow your intuition, learn to connect with your intuition, creativity, inspiration, abundance, even move your body, dance, arts, all of that is feminine. Once I start my first awakening, that's when I start connecting with my feminine, because that's when I stop being in my mind, because that's the masculine. The masculine is the logical mind, like this.
That was when you were at your job and you woke up from your surgery, you were like, I'm not doing this anymore.
Exactly. Okay. So what I was living before, I would say I was living in a totally masculine energy. I'm not saying we shouldn't live on that, but it's about balancing both and integrate both. So I was living from my masculine, like from my mind, like I should do this, I have to do this, I have to not resting, like making money, I have to accomplish a competition, all of that, it's more about masculine. So once I really step into my spiritual being, I start following my heart, my emotions. I start finally allowing myself to feel all this pain that is stored in my body for years that I didn't allow myself to feel because I was busy working, I was busy achieving,
so busy
making money, because my mind was telling me this is the logical thing you should do, right? So definitely it was start listening to myself. I would say that's the most feminine side that any human can do. Once you start listening to yourself, you are in your feminine. When you slow down, when you rest, when you start expressing your thoughts, your feelings, and then you can integrate tools, right? Then I step into Reiki, Kundalini. All of this is also feminine, divine tools to connect deeper with this side. The purpose of connecting with your feminine energy is that you start creating a life from your feminine. That means that with your essence, with who you are. And then you connect with your masculine and you take action, you create, you manifest So the feminine is like the essence, like this idea, this this just inspiration coming through. And when you manifest, when you have all this, now that it's so popular talk about manifestation, that's when you link it to your masculine. When you create a life that is fulfilled, it's because you're balancing both feminine and masculine. So that's the new paradigm. That's where now is the new earth, like moving through to have these both energies, so we can really feel fulfilled and feel whole. So now just linking in this to the Kundalini energy. So the Kundalini, it's a serpent energy that comes from the base of your spine, and when it moves through your head, it creates like a serpent, and it's actually the serpent of the feminine side, the left side, and the serpent of the masculine side, the right side. So there's these two serpents start crossing and moving through your head, and then they kind of open to your sides and create like a circle around you, like a sphere, and then they come back again to your spine and move up again. So it's like you become whole. So it's like you activate your feminine through this tool, but to also integrate and become whole with your masculine. So it's both. So I'm very passionate about feminine because I feel that's how you can create a life true to yourself. There is no one way to create a life. It's very personal and unique. We all are here for a specific mission and purpose. But the more fulfilled that we feel, that's how we're gonna relate better with others too. And then we rise the vibration of the planet, literally, and that's how we can create a new world, a new reality.
Yes. And the idea of the feminine energy being essence, I love that, because it totally encapsulates the entire idea of the balance. Because when you're living from your heart and you're tapped in and you're connected and you're embodying your authentic self, it's like you can work hard in anything, and you can step into your masculine energy and you can be super productive and you can manifest this and you can, work and you can create and you can provide. But what are you providing for? What are you creating? Where are you creating from? And so the essence of the feminine energy, getting into, okay, what is my foundation? Because I have the opportunity to create and I have the opportunity to build. Where do I want that to come from? And what do I want that to look like? If you're not tapped in, if you're not connected, you're creating for other people. You're creating what you think you should be, but there's always going to be this like dissonance because you're not connected. And so, men have feminine energy as well, just as women have masculine energy. And so what it is just the essence. I love that because it makes sense, and I think that being able to break something down that is mystical, that is spiritual, and it is so valid, and it makes good sense when you're in the know about what this stuff means and what it looks like. But for people who are just getting started, you hear it all the time now, just like you said, manifestation, so popular. Okay, well, what is manifestation? Or the divine feminine? What does that mean? Like just women, like whatever. And so breaking it down into truly simplistic terminology is very powerful because everybody's going to be able to understand what essence means and connection means. So I love that. And, masculine energy is just as powerful, it's just as beautiful, and it's a balance. It's like yin and yang, the gifts of one do not take away from the other. And I think that is important to recognize.
Yeah. Just to add, I would say, there is also so many misconceptions about the divine feminine that once you start tapping into this, you forget about the masculine, and that can be, and if you don't have the masculine, you cannot really create or materialize something, because at the end we are here on earth and we are living the experience, the human experience here. We are not in the astral, even though that's beautiful. I have amazing journeys, I love that, but at the end we are here on earth, and we are here to where we relate with others, with nature, where we can share with others. So if you're only in your feminine, but you cannot bring your ideas into manifestation, it's because probably you're too polarized on the feminine. So it's important for anyone who is listening this to not only step into the divine feminine, but also bring your masculine, because it's so beautiful and we need it. Yes, we are together, so we are not separating. It's just a new way, a new perspective of life.
And I also, just to snowball on this idea, I feel like a lot of people nowadays, when you hear divine feminine, it's almost like I don't know, like a jab at men. And it's like men get a little threatened, and women are also kind of in this, I put this out there because I feel like I need to emphasize that, women are powerful, and I'm putting men down in the process of doing that. But that's not the nature of this, because like what we're talking about is balance. And so I think that's very important to understand in the yin and the yang, because masculine and feminine energy, they go back before human beings. Like, it's not about man and woman. That's not what this is. It's not masculine because you are a man, and it's not feminine because you are a woman. It is, don't even think of it like gender. It's the essence, it's the connection, and then it's the creation, and it's the manifestation, and it's the whatever. So yes, because we are energetic beings, we have both. So very, very cool. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk a little bit about are your retreats. So what is your mission in facilitating these retreats, and who would benefit from embarking on such a journey? Just want to give you the floor to talk about that.
Yeah, so what I'm doing, I just started these hosting retreats last year. As you hear my story, my first work experience was through travel and in this industry. And now what I'm doing, it's pretty much a compilation of all my journey until now. So travel is my passion. So what I'm creating is intentional travel for women only, because I have another mission, which is heal the sisterhood wound. So what is this sisterhood wound, women wound can look like? It's in this world that there's competition between women. So my idea, it's my purpose, bring women together, travel, not only to discover a country or a new land, but also connecting with themselves and with other women, and receive tools that is for balance, like body, mind, and the emotional side, of course, mixing with the spiritual aspect too. But the main purpose of this is to remember who we are, and to remember how all women, we are just mirror of each other. And just being in these groups for days and these containers and disconnecting from the outside, it's so powerful. So imagine this through travel, and then through adventure, and through receiving tools. So it's so powerful, it's so transformational. When I also start my own journey, I join many women retreats, and for me, change my life, just go 3 for 4 days with women and just be a witness of other women, set me free in so many ways, because there was so much conditioning in my own journey, or my past life. In this life, I would say that when I start connecting with other women, with listen to other women's story, I liberate myself to also speak my truth, to share my story, to be in peace with my story, and then to stay into my power, and then create a sisterhood, and know that I'm not alone on this journey, that I have my friends that are like-minded, that they are in the same journey, and then we can support each other. And that's the beautiful community that we create, that after the travels, you always create friends there, and really friends that can last for your whole life, because they really see you through your essence. They see you in a different environment, out of your comfort zone. And these spaces, these retreats are for you to be seen, to be heard, to feel. And sometimes many women don't have that option outside. I would say now I feel very lucky because I chose this path, and I feel free every day. I can always choose what I do, what I want to do. But these are for women that are out there and they don't have the tools. Maybe they have a different journey, and they have jobs that they also love, but they need to balance with these kind of trips. Yeah. So I would say these kind of journeys are for them, so they can start finding their own tribe and their own connect with their essence.
Yes, I love that so much. And the competition, like you kind of talked about that, and it's so sad because when we don't understand that we're all connected and we are trying to put others down to make ourselves feel like we're higher up or whatever, like we have the upper hand, we're hurting ourselves. And we have to understand that when we see others, not even just women, but we're talking about women right now, as mirrors of who we are, we heal ourselves in hoping to hold the space to allow the healing for someone else, you know? And like this idea of judging other people. You don't have to like everyone. Not everybody likes me. Not everybody, you know what I mean? That's fine. When you're your authentic self, you're not going to attract every single type of person. You don't want to attract every single type of person, but the idea that you can just accept and not judge someone for being who they are, it's a direct reflection of how much you are able to accept yourself and truly just love yourself for who you are, and understand that your essence is different, maybe. But I love the community and building each other up and just recognizing on a deeper level that we're all in this together. Like, why would we intentionally go head to head? We don't need to. We just don't need to, you know? So I love that you create the space for that. That is amazing. So the last thing that I would love for you to guide listeners to is how they can connect with you after the show. And like I said, I will make sure to link all of this in the episode description. So give your plugs and I'll put the links.
Thank you, Gabby. It will be through social media. My Instagram is astrid.in.spirit. And I'm using the same name for TikTok. And also on Facebook, and my name is Astrid Castellanos, Energy Healer. And there is an email that you can also reach me, and for sure you can put the information there. Yeah, that's pretty much how you can connect with me.
Yay! All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and Astrid, thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad that we were able to sit down and do this in our beautiful casita, and I am just very, very thankful that our paths crossed. All right, thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you next week on the Crucial Conversations podcast. Hey, y'all. Before you head out, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening to this episode, and most importantly, thank you for making the conscious decision to invest in yourself and expand your mind. By doing so, you are helping to elevate us all to live better lives. By showing up and emulating the things that you learned in today's crucial conversation, you are inspiring those around you. If you want to continue this domino effect, share this episode with someone that you want to help to unlock their maximum potential. And connect with me on Instagram at crucial.conversations to share your valuable feedback and offer recommendations for what you'd like to hear in future episodes. I love you all. Keep shining your unique lights, and I will see you next time on the Crucial Conversations podcast.